Hello, my dear listeners. I'm Sir Fogwile, and today I'm going to tell you about the lore behind Clearfell's first hunger. Before the Count, before the Manor, and before the old forest begins to show its deeper teeth, the crisis reaches ordinary people through bread, water, dead bodies, and the fear of an empty storehouse. Tonight, we follow that hunger from the riverbank to the mill, then into the Mud Burrow, where Clearfell learns that the sickness has moved beyond human skin and into the land itself. Clearfell's first warning does not arrive as prophecy. It arrives as an injured man on the riverbank, half alive, trying to put names to a disaster that has already moved past him. The place matters. A river should carry trade, fish, news, and safe passage between settlements. Here, it carries the wrong dead home.
The miller went off to warn Clearfell about a strange sickness plaguing our men. I was fixing to go after him, till that bloody thing got to me first.
The miller is the first important word in that warning. The story gives him no banner, command, or noble office. He is a practical man with a practical duty, warn the refuge. In a village economy, a miller sits close to grain, flour, storage, trade, and rationing. When that figure is lost, the crisis touches the village table.
Now, all those who drowned in the flooding, suddenly they ain't so dead no more.
That line turns Clearfell's emergency into something older than an outbreak. The drowned are returning. Water has become a road for bodies that should have stayed still. The river no longer divides the living from the dead, and once a boundary like that fails, every ordinary habit starts to feel cursed.
Reach Clearfell. Find the miller.
The instruction is painfully small. Find the miller. No one yet understands the shape of the enemy. Samuel is still thinking in village terms. If the miller can be found, maybe Clearfell can be warned. If Clearfell can be warned, maybe stores can be guarded, doors barred, and people counted before panic takes them. Then the miller appears as the Bloated Miller, a ruined answer to Samuel's hope. His body carries the image of excess and famine at once, swollen flesh, a butcher's motion, and a working tool turned toward slaughter. The name makes him feel less like a random monster and more like a sign nailed to the village gate.
Saw in half!
There is no noble speech left in him, only work language broken into violence. Sawing, splitting, cutting, verbs from timber and labor are dragged into the body. Clearfell's first boss is a man from the food chain, turned into a threat at the very threshold of shelter. Once the gate opens, Clearfell does not feel saved. It feels contained. Finn sees that clearly because he is sharp enough to joke while measuring the shape of the trap. His humor is armor, but the fear under it is plain.
This is a wooden tomb, if you care to see it objectively. We're not quite dead yet, but food supply is dwindling, and I've seen what hunger can make a man do. The monsters out there are not the ones that will get us in the end.
Finn's line is one of the strongest early clues in Act 1 because it shifts the danger inward. The walls protect Clearfell from beasts, yet they also turn the town into a ration box. Hunger changes social rules before monsters ever breach the palisade. Neighbors become witnesses to each other's dwindling portions. Courage gets tested by the pantry. That is why the first hunger matters as lore. Wraeclast often shows corruption through grand images, gods, ruins, devices, curses, and blood-soaked thrones. Clearfell begins with village pressure. A settlement can endure fear for a while. It cannot endure starvation without becoming something harsher than it was the day before. Renly gives the same problem a different voice. He speaks like a working man trying to keep bodies alive, and his account of the Devourer explains why food is no longer a matter of simple scavenging.
There's a beast of particular dark power stalking us out in the felling. It moves unseen under the dirt and attacks without warning. We can't leave the walls to find food, and I've been unable to corner and slay the beast myself.
The Devourer turns the ground itself into an ambush. Clearfell's people cannot walk out for food because the route to food has teeth under it. This is the sickness moving from corpse to creature to landscape. The soil is no longer a flaw, it is a mouth. The Mud Burrow quest also carries an important pattern for the series. A local danger comes with a practical reward, yet the reward is evidence as much as equipment. The gift taken from the burrow belongs to the same network of signs as the miller: labor, survival, meat, tunnels, hunger, and a village learning that every useful thing can be turned against it. Una gives the deepest explanation. She hears the grief in the land before the others have language for it. To her, the Devourer belongs to the same wounded pattern, a creature changed by a sickness moving through Ogham's living systems.
The Devourer is just another victim of the sickness infecting our precious land. Many of Ogham's beasts are fearsome and dangerous, but not like this. The infection in the soil, water, and air is changing them. All of them.
Soil, water, and air. Una names the whole world that a village depends on. Food grows in soil, travels by water, and rots in air. Beasts drink, breathe, and burrow through the same elements. Her explanation makes the first hunger a map. The crisis is ecological before it is political. This is also why the Bloated Miller and the Devourer belong in the same episode. One shows a human place in the food order corrupted. The other shows the land's predator order corrupted. Together, they reveal a collapse of trust between people, bodies, animals, and the ground beneath them. When the Devourer falls, the victory is measured in food before glory. Renly's relief is not theatrical. He sounds like a man who has watched the same walls shrink every day and finally sees a path outside them.
Ah, finally! Took down the Devourer, did you? Oh, that's incredible! This is the first real success we've had against the darkness. We can breathe a bit easier now, perhaps even go out and gather food.
That is the first real success because it restores a basic motion: leave, gather, return. A settlement survives by repeating that motion until it becomes ordinary. The Devourer broke the loop. Killing it does not cleanse Ogham, but it gives Clearfell back the possibility of another morning.
Congratulations, you've saved us from hunger. Now the monsters in the forest can kill us instead.
Finn's joke lands because it is true in two directions. Hunger has been answered for a moment, and the forest remains. Clearfell has escaped one kind of death only to stand closer to another. That rhythm will repeat through Act 1. Relief opens a door, and behind it waits an older fear. The word hunger will return later with greater force. By the time Gianor speaks it, the idea has climbed from pantry and riverbank into the language of a ruler losing himself to the beast inside the house of Ogham.
The hunger consumes.
That future line matters because Clearfell teaches us how to hear it. Hunger is appetite, survival, infection, and inheritance. It consumes food first, then safety, then memory, then the shape of a person. The Miller is the first body of that lesson. The Devourer is the first burrowed proof. Gianor will become the voice that admits the pattern has reached the throne. So tonight's lesson is this. Clearfell's first crisis begins with hunger entering the village's most ordinary systems: the river, the mill, the storehouse, the path to food, and the soil that should have fed them. Next time, we turn from the stomach to memory. We will follow the songs, stones, and old forest signs of Ogham and ask what this land remembers before people like Finn, Una, and Renly can fully explain it. That's all I have for you tonight. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. There is much more lore and many more stories to come. Thank you for taking the time to watch my content. I'll see you next time.